Even though Overlord Season 4 ended a while ago, there was still a lot of things that I hadn't forgotten about Season 4 of Overlord. And while there is a lot of unforgettable moments, I think what really made Overlord Season 4 more interesting was just to see how terrifying Renner was as a character. Remember, in past seasons, Renner didn't get the huge spotlight that she got in Season 4, and it's very clear that she played a huge role in the story in Season 4 compared to the other seasons. And I think that's what really makes her interesting, not just how terrifying she was, but also what she was willing to do to accomplish her goals and get her desires that she so desperately wanted. But before we get into that, we're going to be talking about who Renner is as a person and what makes her so terrifying in this series. And that is saying something, because we have characters like Ainz in this group who you can also consider as to be insane individuals. But what makes the difference between Renner and Ainz in his group is the fact that Renner is a human being. She's a human, but not only has a twisted personality, but also a twisted mind. As stated on the background information about Renner was the fact that ever since she was born, it seemed that she got a lot of advanced intellect, meaning that she was very smart and a very intelligent person. Something that a lot of people would consider a gift, but also at the same time, not everything is always perfect. In Renner's case, it was very clear that even though she was very intelligent and very smart than other people around her, the majority of people had no idea or couldn't really understand her half the time of what she was saying or thinking, which later on would cause a huge effect on her mental health, thus making her become more twisted as this was all going on. That was until one day she met a young orphan boy that would listen and do anything that she would tell him to do, and this person is Climb. It seems that after Renner met Climb, this is when Renner started to become even more twisted, and it was very clear that she was just getting insane and even more insane as time went on, because this would show that even though Renner cared about Climb and appreciated everything Climb was doing for her, it was very clear that Climb was somebody that Renner was attached to, almost as if she made sure that Climb was always by her side and would never forget about her. But at the same time, it was very clear that in Renner's head, she wanted Climb all to herself. In fact, she wanted to make sure that Climb obeyed to everything she did, no matter what it was. It was almost as if Renner wanted Climb to be more like a dog more than anything else, and that's not an exaggeration. She has stated in the light novels that she wants Climb to be like a dog. She wants to chain him up completely and raise him like a dog. That kind of reminds me of another character. I don't know, it kind of reminds me of another character from another series. I wonder who also has this similar mindset as Renner. But anyways, it was at this point that we only got to see a fraction as to what would make Renner truly terrifying, because we wouldn't find out how twisted, how insane, and what Renner was willing to do to get her goals until the Fallen Kingdom arc, aka Overlord Season 4. Overlord Season 4 is the season that really showed us how insane Renner is as a person, but also the fact of what she was willing to sacrifice in order to get what she wanted. It is revealed in Season 4 that Renner betrayed the kingdom in order to work for Ainz. She wasn't threatened, she wasn't forced to work with Ainz. She willingly chose to work with Ainz and decided to betray her own kingdom, which goes to show you how she had no care whatsoever as to what's going to happen with the kingdom. She didn't care if the kingdom will fall. She didn't care what happened to her own family. She didn't care about the people of the kingdom and how this could affect their lives. For her, this was nothing. This was just the only way she could get her goals by, and if it means destroying the kingdom and all the people in it, then that's what she was willing to do in order to achieve her goals. And what is her goals? Well, her dream is to simply be by Climb's side for the rest of her life. She wants Climb to be with her and only depend on her from now on. But the only way she could do that, and she can only have that dream come true, is if she betrayed the kingdom and joined Ainz's group. Now you may be wondering, how is Renner going to achieve her dream by being with Climb for the rest of her life if she's only human? Well, as the series would show, Renner had a plan for that as well, and the plan was to not be human anymore. Let me explain. During her secret meetings that she would have with Albedo gave her a magic item. This was the Fallen Seed. This item would have given her the abilities to become something that wasn't human anymore. This item will make Renner a demon. but there was always a catch to this. You see, in the anime they didn't reveal this. However, something that I found out in the light novels is the fact that in exchange for this to happen, there needs to be a sacrifice, meaning that Renner had to make a sacrifice to the magic item in order for her to become a demon and no longer be human. But it seems that this was not an issue for Renner, as she already had a plan for that as well. And of course, this involved sadly innocent people. Now you may be wondering, how did she manage to do this? Well, remember, Renner wanted to make an orphanage. Now the reason why she wanted this orphanage was because, according to her, she wanted to help those kids in need. She wanted to give them a proper education and not make them go into a bad path. However, this was not the case whatsoever. The only reason why she wanted this orphanage was because she wanted to make this sacrifice to actually happen, something that wasn't really revealed in the anime. However, now that I gave you this context, that scene in which Renner told the people who were taking care of the orphanage to make sure all the kids eat her food, including them as well, the people who are taking care of the kids, to eat her food as well. But it will be later revealed that she actually did something to the food, and what she did was poison the food, and with that was how she was able to make the sacrifice in order to get her dreams come true, which goes to show you how far Renner was willing to go, and the fact that she was willing to use innocent people, not only that, kids, in order for her to just get her dreams come true, which goes to show you how little remorse she has, and she doesn't even feel guilty doing all this, because at the end of the day, the only people she cares about is herself and Climb. And unfortunately, she would actually succeed with her plan. Her dream would come true. Not only does she become a demon that could live forever and for all eternity, but after Climb's brutal loss to Ainz and the battle that he had between him and Ainz, Renner manages to convince Climb to become a demon himself so that he could stay by her side for the rest of their lives, something that Climb actually accepts because it seems that there's no option left, and it's very clear that Climb has no other choice than just to simply obey what Renner says and does, something that Renner was already anticipating because, like I stated before, Climb listens and does whatever Renner tells him to do. And it seems that Renner actually did win. Not only did she become a demon that could live forever, but she managed to convince Climb to stay by her side for the rest of her life. Not only that, but managed to convince Climb to become a demon himself. It was very clear that Renner was always going to do this no matter what. It didn't matter how she was going to do it or what she had to do. As long as she got her dreams come true, that's all that really mattered to her. And that's really the scariest thing, is the fact that she was willing to go this far just to get what she wanted. And I think that's really what makes Renner really terrifying, is that even though she wasn't a demon before, she was pretty much a demon just in human form. The fact that she had no guilt, no emotions, no remorse for everything she did, despite it being really messed up and something that I think a normal human person could never really do. For Renner, this was nothing. For Renner, this was all simply something that she had to do. And even though she's a very smart individual, that's not to say that Renner is going to do whatever she wants now. It's very clear that she chose the fate she wanted to follow, because now she has to be loyal to Ainz and Nazarick. No matter what she does, she has to be loyal to them no matter what. She knows that if she messes up and she's not loyal to Ainz or Nazarick, she is going to be in a lot of trouble. She knows just how powerful Ainz and his group is, that they are willing to do anything to make sure that they keep going forward. As long as their plans succeed, that's all that matters, and Renner knows it. So if there's ever a time where Renner disobeys, she knows she's going to meet a fate worse than death. But despite all that, Renner is still a very insane person, and is still a terrifying person that, despite knowing what her fate is going to be once she makes these decisions, she decided to keep going forward and did what she did. And that is the real highlight of Overlord Season 4, what Renner was willing to do. In the previous seasons, they didn't really show it too much. They did show that Renner was crazy and she did have her insane moments, or some people like to call the yandere moments. But Season 4 showed us how far Renner was willing to go just to stay by Climb's side, just so that Climb could be with her for all of eternity. And it's very clear that no one was going to change her mind whatsoever, not even Climb. Sure, you could argue that maybe Climb could have stopped her, but Renner could easily convince Climb to go along with her plan, so really there was no stopping this plan from happening. But with that, that's pretty much the entire video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.